just one more question before we move on to the next video. Now, you mentioned that olive harvest, olive picking is an ancient tradition that involves families. It's a time people get together. It's, it is a beautiful time and it's a community event. And today it is no longer that, is it? It is actually life-threatening and risky, and it's a dangerous activity today. And you mentioned the international volunteers, and we will see a little bit about them later. We'll talk about the international volunteers later. But tell us, just quickly walk us through the dangers that Palestinians face during olive harvest, olive picking.
The dangers, like up until today, from the beginning of the harvest, we had more than 40 attacks on Palestinian families carried out by settler thugs. These are civilians that aim at terrorizing Palestinian families and to kick them out of their land so that their land and property will be used for the expansion of those colonies. And all of this happens like under the observation, let's say, of Israeli soldiers. And those settlers and soldiers serve the exact same regime. Also, they carry out those attacks without any kind of fear of responsibility. In the sense, like, if you go and attack a family on their land, the police will come and arrest you. But if you go and attack a family on their land, the police will come watching. So that emboldens the thugs. The olive harvest is usually a 3 generations thing. You have 3 generations present on the field. You have the older families who will pass on stories from their parents and grandparents to the younger generation and so on. So like you have old people on the field. You have fit people on the field. You have children on the field. And believe it or not, like all those 3 generations, like they have different roles to play during that harvest. So when you come onto the field with older people, men, women, children, that's the whole family there. And the reaction towards thugs coming to attack family on your land will be different on each and every generation. That's like where the fear is implanted in the hearts of kids. What happens is that only like those who are fit to confront settler attacks will go to the field. So women won't go, older people will go, and young men will go, but those are like very few people. We noted that the Israeli army and Israeli settlers, like they behave differently if a white man was present on the land, because, they identify as white people here, even though like the majority of beneficiaries of the state of Israel are not white, but like the state itself views itself as white. So what we do is we understand this racist trick. We also understand that foreigners that come to visit, they are not subject to the Israeli military law. Palestinians are subject to Israeli military law. So there is a loophole in the implementation of Israeli oppression or legalizing Israeli oppression. There is a loophole there. So what we do is like we have been calling on people who have the time to come and learn, but also to come and help and be present with Palestinian families, learn about this agricultural and cultural event, work hand in hand with farmers. So if the soldiers show up, they would behave. If the settlers show up, the soldiers have to kick them out, just to give the impression to the white man that Israel is abiding by law. In one of the many events of assisting and helping families, we had Israeli soldiers coming on the line. They were like saying, you should have coordinated with us that you wanted to come here. It's like, you're not an owner of land here, but I coordinated the visit with the owner of the land. Then the soldier was like, yeah, this is dangerous to bring internationals here. And it's like, no, they feel safe here. You are the one who's making it dangerous for everyone. And then he said, like, if you try to be smart with me, I can arrest everyone. And it's like, yeah, all right. We are 45 people, just bring enough vehicles. I said this to an Israeli soldier, emboldened by the presence of internationals on the field and knowing that Israeli military law is not applicable on foreigners who come to visit us. If this situation would happen without the presence of internationals, like the life of the family, my life would have been in danger simply because the Israeli soldiers can easily arrest us for being illegally present in a closed military zone. They can simply declare the land of that family in particular as closed military zone and then ban us or prevent us from being present there. So there is a big importance, I would say, for the presence of witnesses and for what we call like protective presence of foreigners who can be like on the same field with Palestinian families as they are doing their harvest or as they are planting their trees and so on and so forth. I'm saying this being aware of the fact like people in Malaysia are not allowed even access to here because of the racist measures that are imposed by the state of Israel on travel to Palestine. But we have many people who got like a foreign passport and then a European or Westernized passport. And then through that Westernized passport, they managed to find their way into Palestine. So there are a few lucky ones.
Yes, and I have to say I am one of the blessed and honored ones to have visited the West Bank, Bethlehem even, Al-Aqsa, right? It's possible for Malaysians, they are able to, they just have to fill out separate document. Of course, officially, no Malaysian is allowed entry into Israel because Malaysia does not recognize Israel. And interestingly, the Malaysian government just issued a statement, was it yesterday, regarding Israeli apartheid policies against the Palestinians. So that to us was a significant statement.